Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, it's 61 or 62, and today maybe I'm not wearing enough because I only have this shirt on. So, but it's beautiful out. The sky is amazing. And any of you who've been following the Hill know nothing's happening. Surprise. There was some comic last night who said something along the lines of, why should we be surprised that a bunch of insurrectionists that had trouble certifying an election can't get elected themselves? And I've already said that this is emblematic of what we can expect when the dust finally clears and perhaps there is a Speaker of the House, that these guys won't be able to get their act together. But let's look beyond the cause and effect here. And it's the notion that I've often quoted about Sir Thomas More. You know, if you take down all the laws, then where could you stand in the wind that would blow? Because there'd be nothing there. Nothing, no organization, nothing for us to set as the standards or rules by which we conduct ourselves and what we can expect and what it is we must change if we're dissatisfied with the rules and laws as they are. Now, going back to January the 6th, we have a guy running for Speaker who, according to the January 6th committee, failed to respond to a subpoena by a committee of the House. And on two different dates, he failed to comply and appear and testify and so on and so forth. And he also wouldn't discuss a meeting had in the White House on December the 21st, 2020. And that's a critical meeting because what are they discussing? They're discussing the impending attack on the Capitol. Those of you who've read Ari Melber's foreword to the January 6th report will find it interesting the contrast he sees between the impeachment proceeding and what then the January 6th committee did. And it goes like this, and I'm oversimplifying it, but I think it's worth your time to read it. What Ari said was, everybody talked about the day of, like everything happened on that single day, January the 6th. And so that was the focus of that day. But as the dust clears and an independent commission is created, and a truly independent commission was opposed by the guy who would be Speaker, they discovered all the trails, you know, what had happened beforehand, how far back it went that they plotted for that single day. Okay, so we can spend time on these elements, and it's in the January 6th committee report. But between the impeachment, which is really about a single day, in a way, was the speech that Trump gave sufficient to satisfy inciting to insurrect and to take apart the election that Trump had lost and Biden had fairly won. Now, after the January 6th report, and all the findings in between there, we know that it wasn't a single day. It was a conspiracy. It was a coup. It was an attempt at a coup. And as the night follows the day, the normal question would be, when somebody commits a crime like that, what do we do about it? And the answer has been nothing. Nothing has happened to the principals, not to Trump, not to Meadows, not to Rudy Giuliani, maybe he'll lose his law license, not to any of these people, and not to the leaders on the Hill, including the man who would be Speaker, who is embarrassing his entire caucus and the nation by the fact that he can't put together a government. Now, we read about this in other countries, often third world countries, where in a parliamentary system, they can't get the people to agree and to work together and to have a government. Well, that's what he's doing right now. And what should have happened? What should have happened is that for No Jacket Jordan and for Green and a whole bunch of them, including he who would be Speaker, McCarthy, there should have been a forced accounting before this. But because we haven't, we're in this dilemma. Had we acted, there would have been different players, Republican or Democrat, running to be Speaker, and hopefully it would be both organized, and there would at least be a consensus within whoever was the prevailing side of the hill after the midterm elections. Now, the punishment for doing such a bad job in the midterm elections among the Republicans is that, hey, you guys didn't you didn't win all those seats in the House you expected. And I suppose they would have been rewarded had they done that, but their message was not one that appealed to the public. But the public doesn't quite trust us Democrats yet to deliver and to trust us. And so we're in that ambivalent position, the Democrats are, but in a worse position, I think, and properly so, for their failures and their nature, their language, and their lying, and their preference for a form of government that is autocratic, when it is a big concern to us that we continue our democratic policies and that we not be some sort of upscale dictatorship with Trump or any of these other guys in place. So, where are we today? Well, when I'm doing this, I know that McCarthy's been busy losing these votes, and I don't know why he thinks, continuously punching somebody in the face by wasting their time waiting for the vote, that he doesn't step aside. And it's hard to believe that he will make it. At some point, I assume he's going to be forced to step aside. Of course, that begs the other question. Who? If not the worthless McCarthy, what other worthless person from the Republican caucus can it be? In the meantime, the President of the United States is off talking about how we sustain America. And he's doing that with the Republicans from the Senate. And it's obvious what he's trying to do, and I don't dispute this. If we can start functioning as a republic, and if we can start obeying the law, and if we can start forcing people to account for what they do in terms of misconduct, then we're in a place where we're governing. And that path, however rocky and shaky, that's a path we have to follow. And the Senate, by construction, was always considered to be the saucer that cooled off the heat of the cup of coffee delivered up by the House. Well, I don't know that anything like that metaphor is going to happen here, and all metaphors have their defects. But there is something to say if McConnell, for whatever reason, personal or otherwise, wants to try to shift gears because maybe in some way he thinks his game won't work unless we have something like a more regular government, which we do not have right now. So that's my wandering comments on the inactivity in the House, failing to do what's necessary and should and has to be done. That is, so that we may govern our nation, because things will happen, and right now we're flat-footed. It's sort of like we have the burglars who had the house invasion, want to have another one, but they can't agree among themselves who's going to sit at the top of their garbage heap and be in charge of the house, the people's house. Well, if we had dealt with these people before this and made them account for their misconduct, we might have a better group of people, whether Democrat or Republican, that sought to govern us. And we didn't do that, and we don't have it, and we're paying the price for it. And we'll continue to pay the price for it if we don't get alert and force people to abide by the standards of our democracy. So, that's what I have to say. And on this warm day, here I say, in the Cathedral of Trees, and if I can, I'll be out tomorrow and talk to you. Bye-bye.